Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Very sorry for the delay. In the move, I lost my laptop charger, so I had to go and buy it. So I just went and bought, and it's all set up now. So we can get started. Let us begin with our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind association. Let us continue our study of Sri Jaiva Dharma by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya. We are studying the fifth chapter, I believe. And is this the slide where we stopped last time? Anybody remembers? You raise your hand if you remember, please. Yes. Shama Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, the next one. I think we finished this and then you were to start with the next one.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. We saw how Sri Lahiri Mahasaya introduced Devidas to his Gurudev, Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj. And we saw the brief discussion between the two, between Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj and Devidas. Devidas has come to convince Lahiri Mahasaya. As a family member, he has come to convince him to come back to Shantipur. But Lahiri Mahasaya does not want to give up the association of his Gurudev and of the other Vaishnavas. So he connects Devidas to his Gurudev, Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj. They have a discussion. And seeing the profound learning of Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Devidas, who is himself very well learned in Nyaya Shastra, he becomes very impressed. And he develops a desire to learn Vedanta Sutra, to study Vedanta from Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj. And therefore he asks, will you teach me? Out of humility, Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj says, I have not studied much. He says, but if you think I'm eligible, Devidas persists, then please teach me. Do you think I'm eligible candidate to study Vedanta? That brings us to our discussion, today's discussion. Pujya Shri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj replies, listen, my dear child, Devidas, my present situation is that I'm simply a poor servant of the Vaishnavas. Shri Paramhamsa Premdas Babaji Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj, has been very merciful to me, instructing me to always chant Harinam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Taking shelter of the holy name is the answer to all problems. And it is the way to all success. Therefore, I try to do his bidding and have very little other time left. This should be the situation of all of us. We should be so engrossed in fulfilling the desires, the orders of our spiritual master, that we should not have time. When the prostitute Lakshahira came to tempt Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Mahashay, Srila Haridas Thakur Mahashay said, I do not have time, I have not finished my rounds. So we should take such a sankalp that we never have time. Such a sankalp of Nam Bhajan that we never have time. Therefore, I try to do what my Guru Maharaj said and have very little other time left. Besides, Srila Rupa Goswami has strictly forbidden the Vaishnavas to read or to hear Shripad Shankaracharya's exposition upon Vedanta called the Shariraka Bhashya. Therefore, I do not read or teach that book. What is the Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary on the Vedanta Sutra called? Raise your hand quickly. And who is the author of it? Yes, Vishwanath Prabhu.
It's Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedavyas.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. But in our Gaudiya Vaishnava, Srila Vyasadeva preceded Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in birth. So in the line of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, Shama Keshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is it Sridhar Swami?
Srila Sridhar Swami has written a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
But my question is on the Brahma Sutras, on the Vedanta Sutra, who has written a commentary? Yes, Shama Chandrika Mataji.
Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhuji?
Yes, very good. It is Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. And what is the commentary called? Anybody who has read Bhagavad Gita as it is knows. What is it called? Ananga Sundari Mataji, what is the commentary called?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Shri Govinda Bhashya.
Yes, Govinda Bhashya. Srila Prabhupada dedicates Bhagavad Gita as it is to Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan Mahashay, who so nicely presented the Gaudiya philosophy in his commentary to the Vedanta Sutra. That commentary is called Govinda Bhashya. What is the commentary of the Shri Vaishnavas called and who wrote it? Raise your hand, please. In the Shri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Okay, it is Shripad Ramanujacharya, and that commentary is called Shri Bhashya. So, like that, there are commentaries in all the four Sampradayas on the Vedanta Sutra. So, Shri Vaishnavas Babaji Maharaj is telling Devidas that you are asking me to teach Vedanta, and you want to learn Vedanta in the line of Shri Shankaracharya, but our Srila Rupa Goswami has strictly forbidden the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to read or hear Shripad Shankaracharya's exposition upon the Brahma Sutras or the Vedanta Sutras called Shariraka Bhashya. Therefore, I do not read Shariraka Bhashya and I do not teach that book. Hare Krishna. So, Shri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj continues speaking to Devidas. He says, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, the original spiritual master of the entire creation, explained the Vedanta Sutra Bhashya to Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. This is available amongst a few Vaishnavas in the form of a handwritten manuscript. You may copy this from one of them and then study it. It may help your understanding. I may help your understanding if I can. If you read it, and if you don't understand, then I can help you understand it. But that's what you should read. Hari Bol. What book is this? What book is this? Raise your hand, please, if you know the answer. Are you paying attention, all of you? What did Shri Vaishnava Das Maharaj say? Raise your hand if you can repeat. Yes, Kirtana Sundari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. So Vaishnava Das Babaji Maharaj told this Prabhu, I forgot his name.
Devidas.
Yes, Devidas, to read this Vedanta philosophy, which is again Govinda Bhashya, which is by Baladev Vidyabhushan. Because he said that.
But Mataji, this conversation is taking place soon after the disappearance of Mahaprabhu. You see, this Premdas Paramahansa Babaji Maharaj, who is the guru of Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he is a direct disciple of Pradyumna Brahmachari, who is associate of Nityananda Prabhu. So this is happening maybe 100 years after Mahaprabhu's disappearance. So this is before Baladev Vidyabhushan's time, much before.
So is he requesting him to read Srimad Bhagavatam?
Is Srimad Bhagavatam a conversation between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Oh, no. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
You know, Mataji. Bolo, which book is being referred to? If there is a manuscript, go and get it and read it. Nahi samajh mein aaya to pucho, I can help.
Sorry, Prabhu.
You know, Mataji, you teach that book. Kasturi Manjari Mataji. Which book is this? Where there is conversation between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Dev.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. It is in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, Chaitanya Charitamrita is being referred to in this book. Hari Bol, very good. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very good. So he says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, who is the Ādi Guru, he explained Vedanta Sutra. Yes, in the Madhya Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, there is a conversation, detailed conversation. Mahaprabhu explains. He speaks about Sharirika Bhashya, he speaks about Shripad Adi Shankaracharya, and he speaks about the correct understanding. When that Atmaram verse is explained, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was completely enamored previously by the explanations of Sri Shankaracharya. Mukti, 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 mukti. Sri Chaitanya told him, bhakti, 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 bhakti. So Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, I will change the verse. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Ridvagva purvi vidudan namaste. Jivetayo mukti padesa dayabhak. I will make it bhakti padesa dayabhak. Sri Chaitanya says, no, not required. Because in this verse, mukti means bhakti. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran. Never change the words of the scriptures. Mahaprabhu tells him. So this conversation is there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is being referred to. This is available amongst a few Vaishnavas. Remember how much trouble Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to go through to find one original copy of manuscript of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? 10 years he went door to door, temple to temple. Finally, he found one copy in Orissa. In fact, you could approach Srimad Kavi Karnapur. So this conversion happening when Kavi Karnapur is still there. Kavi Karnapur of Kanchanpalli village, and procure a copy from him. He's Kavi, he will have a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Go and get a copy from him. Kavi Karnapur, the third son of Shivananda Sen. Devidas replies, I will pursue this matter with great care. I will go and get Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sir, you have vast knowledge of Vedanta. Kindly tell me very plainly if I can find the real essence of Vedanta by studying this Vaishnava commentary that you are mentioning. Shri Vaishnava Das Babaji Maharaj says, I have studied and taught the Shankar commentary. Hari Bol. I have also scrutinized other commentaries, including the Shri Bhashya of Shripad Ramanujacharya. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas study the elaborations of the aphorisms made by Sri Chaitanya Dev and explained by Sri Gopinath Acharya. In my experience, I have not yet come across anything superior or more exhaustive. Who is Gopinath Acharya? Raise your hand. Who is Gopinath Acharya? Yes, Prahladananda. Okay, Shanta Radhika Mataji.
Prabhuji, CC Gopinath Acharya was guru of माइंड में घूम रहा है पर ध्यान नहीं आ रहा प्रभु जी, सॉरी।
कोई बात नहीं। कौन से धाम में थे गोपीनाथ आचार्य? जगन्नाथपुरी धाम में ना? He was the spiritual master of Maharaj Pratap Rudra. You're right. So Gopinath Acharya. So aphorisms made by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explained by Sri Gopinath Acharya. In my experience, I have not yet come across anything superior and more exhaustive. No further theories, no annotations, or no new doctrines are necessary after the elaboration given by the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. The essence of all the Upanishads is available in these dissertations. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tataradharana Para. The words of Sri Vaishnadas Babaji Maharaj gave Devidas profound joy, and he offered his prostrated obeisances. Hari Bol. Proceeding from there to his father's room, he narrated everything to his father, Lahiri Mahasaya. Devidas told his father, Lahiri Mahasaya, who became very jubilant. Lahiri Mahasaya became very happy and proclaimed, Devi, affectionately, now Devidas is being called Devi, Devi, you have read and heard enough. Now you must search for the real purpose of life, the ultimate goal. Come on, don't waste time. Devidas says, Father, I came to Godrum feeling extremely hopeful that I could bring you back with me to Shantipur. If you kindly come just this one time, we would be very happy. Especially, our dear mother is keen to have your darshan. What would you reply? Hare Krishna. Shri Lahiri Mahasaya replied, I have accepted the shelter of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Adera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janama Janame Mora Ei Abhilash. I have accepted the shelter of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas and have taken a vow not to visit any non-Vaishnava house. First, all of you should become Vaishnavas. Then you can take me. Hari Bol. Uncompromising devotion. Devidas replied, Father, I do not understand your instructions. We worship the Lord in our house. ठाकुर जी की सेवा विराजमान है, ठाकुर जी विराजमान है घर में, उनकी सेवा हो रही है घर में. We have never shown disrespect to Harinam. We have never shown disrespect to Shri Hari. We serve and we care for guests and Vaishnavas. हम लोग भी वैष्णव सेवक है, अतिथि सेवा करते हैं. Are we not Vaishnavas? What nice questions. Shri Lahiri Mahasaya replies, I recognize that apparently there are no differences between your activities and those of the Vaishnavas. You also worship Shri Hari. Vaishnavas also worship Shri Hari. You chant Harinam. Vaishnavas chant Harinam. You serve the Vaishnavas, the Atithis. Vaishnavas also do the same thing. You worship the deity. Vaishnavas also worship the deity. Your activities are similar to those of the Vaishnavas. Devidas says, then please tell me what we should do to become true Vaishnavas. You said first you all become Vaishnavas, then I will come home. But we are doing the same activities of Vaishnavas. You are also admitting that our activities are similar to the Vaishnavas. Then what do we need to do more? So we become true Vaishnavas and you will come home. Shri Lahiri Mahasaya replies, Devidas, first, you must denounce your materialistic mentality, your naimittik bhav. Give up your naimittik bhav, attachment to temporary rituals. Naimittik bhav means attachment to temporary rituals, and embrace the values of eternal religion, Nitya Dharma. Give up naimittik dharma and adopt Nitya Dharma. Then you are ready to become Vaishnavas. Because we saw in the previous chapter, Vaishnava Dharma is Nitya Dharma. So beautiful. You adopt Nitya Dharma, then you are ready to become Vaishnavas, because that is the Vaishnava Dharma. Devidas replies, I have this nagging doubt which you will kindly dissipate. Please listen. The Vaishnava devotional activities of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, they appear to be diluted with material activities. Then could not these be called naimittik karma as well? What is the point? That any devotee, any Vaishnava who is following the Navavidha Bhakti, if that Vaishnava is not on the platform of pure devotion, then Shravan Kirtan is mixed with material activities. It's mixed with material desires. So doesn't that practice of Vaidhi Bhakti become naimittik karma as well? Because it is contaminated with material activities. And material activities are naimittik. Hari Bol. I detect a certain bias in this matter. हम लोग जो करते हैं उसको आप लोग बोलते हो कि ये नैमित्तिक है. अरे पर आप वैष्णव, सब लोग वैष्णव कहाँ शुद्ध भक्त हो? You are also practicing the limbs of bhakti, 9 limbs of bhakti, Navavidha bhakti, with material desires, with material contamination, because not all Vaishnavas who are practicing Shravanam Kirtanam are yet pure devotees. In fact, majority of them are not pure devotees yet. So their practice of Shravan Kirtanam, Smaranam, Ityadi is mishrit with material desires. It is karma mishrit. It is jnana mishrit. So then why you are being biased towards us? And हम ब्राह्मणों को आप कहते हो कि आप नैमित्तिक क्रिया करते हो, लेकिन आपके जो क्रियाएं हैं, जो अभी तक शुद्ध भक्त नहीं बने वैष्णव, उनके भी तो नैमित्तिक ही क्रिया है, क्योंकि उसमें मटेरियल कंटेमिनेशन है. I detect a certain bias in this matter. Deity worship, fasting, using material things in worship, all these are part of the mundane nature. So how can they be designated as nitya, eternal activities? Puja ke liye you are using flowers, you are using fire, all that is temporary. How it can become nitya? Material things are being used. Shripad Lahiri Mahasaya replies, son, it took me a long time to grasp this point. So try to understand it properly. Listen carefully now, my dear child. Human beings are of 2 kinds. Aihika or worldly, yahan ke, or paramarthik, spiritual. They are not of this world. They belong to the spiritual world. Paramarthik, 2 kinds of human beings. Worldly men, Aihika, seek only temporary bodily pleasures, including respect and material advancements. Arthat, Kanaka, Kamini, Pratishtha. Money, sensual gratification, and glorification. Those who are Aihika, those who are worldly minded, those who are mundane people, they seek temporary bodily pleasures, pleasures of the body, physical body, and the mind. Okay? Spiritual persons, Paramarthik people, human beings, Paramarthik, spiritual persons, they are of 3 categories. Ishanugat, those who are surrendered to Ishwar, Supreme Lord Krishna. Jnananishtha, those who are desiring monistic knowledge with the view of attaining liberation. Emancipation means liberation. And third is Siddhikami, those who are aspiring for mystic powers. Okay? So Karmakandi come under Aihika, worldly people. Are you understanding? Karmakandi is not mentioned here. Because Karmakandi, they will never leave this material world. They will live in the material world only. So they are Aihika. इधर के है वो. इधर ही उनकी दृष्टि है, इधर ही आसक्ति है, और यहीं के लिए सारे चेष्टाएं करते हैं वो. Their activities will never take them beyond the Brahmanda. So Aihika, they are worldly people. So they are Karmakandi. They are after bodily pleasures. Paramarthik, spiritual people, they are those who are either Siddhikami, mystic powers, because ultimately they will also meditate on the through their power of meditation, they will meditate on the Brahman and they may come to the point of liberation. It is possible. Jnananishta, through the Sankhya Jnan philosophy, neti neti karke, they will also cultivate knowledge of Brahman and aspire to merge into Brahman. So both want spiritual elevation. Jnananishta, they want liberation. Siddhikami are behind mystic powers. But the third category is Ishanugat. They are neither Jnananishta nor Siddhikami, nor are they worldly. Look at my cursor. They are not Karmakandis. They are not Siddhikami. And they are not Jnananishta. But they are Ishanugat. Ishanugat. They are surrendered to Ishwar. Ishwar Anugat. They are behind Krishna. The human beings are of two types: Ahika, worldly, and Paramarthik, spiritual. Spiritual are of three types: Jnananishta, Siddhi Kami, and Ishanugat. The Siddhi Kami are absorbed in an attempt to enjoy the fruits of Karma Kand, ritualistic performances. They want to perform ritualistic activities and they want to enjoy. But because they are Siddhi Kami, they will take to Ashtanga Yoga. And through Ashtanga Yoga, they will gradually elevate. They will do meditation because of Ashtanga Yoga. Siddhis will come also. That will be a distraction. But if they continue, then they may come up to the point of impersonal liberation. They want to obtain mystic powers. Some mystic powers are very attractive. Then they see other Ashtanga yogis also getting mystic powers, and they also want to get powers. They want to levitate. They want to read people's mind. They want to influence people. They want to have prapti siddhi. All those things they want to do. So they want to obtain the Siddhi Kamis, they want to obtain mystic powers and thus display miracles by pressing into service different yag, rites, yajnas, sacrifices, and the system of Ashtanga Yoga, which is 8-fold yogic discipline. They want to get mystic powers and show miracles. They take the view that if an Ishwar, supreme controller, exists, then he is subservient to the laws of karma. Modern scientists also belong to this group. That even if there is God, if you do good things, then phal milna hi hai. We have to get the results. Even God cannot stop. Even God is under the law of karma. They are the karma mimamsha philosophy. Now, the Jnananishta cultivate empirical monistic philosophy, knowledge, endeavoring to realize their identity with Brahman. Everything material they want to negate. And then what remains is Brahman, spiritual. They do not know or hardly care whether Ishwar exists or not. Nonetheless, to suit their particular practice of sadhana, they imagine that an Ishwar exists and practice bhakti towards his imaginary form. Those are Jnananishta. If it required for their sadhana to get their purpose fulfilled, they may accept Ishwar exists and they will apparently practice some bhakti towards that imaginary form of Ishwar also. But gradually their endeavors are rewarded with appropriate results. And at this point, their imagined Ishwar is no longer useful or imperative. Whatever they want ability to meditate on the Brahman or merge in the Brahman. They feel that Ishwar is like a stepping stone. Once you reach your destination, your height, pedestal you want, then the steps are no longer required. Ladder is no longer required. That's how they see Ishwar. Thus, this bhakti to Ishwar, they believe, is transformed at the time of enlightenment. When we'll get enlightenment, then we don't need that Ishwar. It gets transformed at the time of enlightenment into their particular definition of Jnana, which is monistic identity with impersonal Brahman. That you yourself merge into the Brahman, you enter that super consciousness state, you enter into the blissful state, Anand, and then nothing else remains. Only Brahman. This philosophy does not accept Bhagavan. This philosophy does not accept bhakti to Bhagavan as being nitya. They accept it as being naimittik. Bhakti, okay, it's one of the path. Thoda bhajan karo, bhakti karo, bow down to some form of God, bolo Krishna, Krishna, bolo Ram, Ram. But that is only so that we can merge into Brahma Jyoti. Like that they think. Now, what is the other category? The last category? Ishanugat category. These are spiritual people, spiritualists, Ishanugats, and they comprise of those who are actually surrendered to Ishwar. Ishwar Anugat. ईश्वर के अनुगत्य में रहते हैं. ईश्वर के अनुगत्य में रहते हैं. They obey Krishna. Karishya vachanam tava. This group is truly seeking spirituality. The Ishanugat category people believe in an eternal, unlimited, and personal Ishwar who has created both the jivas through Tatastha Shakti and the material nature and the potencies of material nature. Parasa Shakti through the external potency, Bahiranga Shakti. They understand that the jivas are the eternal servants of Ishwar and that an eternal mood, bhakti, in respect to Bhagwan is the Nitya Dharma of the Jiva. What is the Nitya Dharma of the Jiva? Eternal mood of bhakti towards Bhagwan. That is what the Ishanugats believe. It's perfect philosophy. They appreciate that the Jiva by his own minute potency alone is incapable of attaining spiritual realization. It's very small, tends to get bewildered, has imperfect senses, has a tendency to cheat. So he cannot attain Krishna by himself. Karma cannot offer the Jiva any eternal results. Ishanugat category of people, they also believe that results of karma are temporary. They are not eternal. And we see in Bhagavad Gita 5 topics are discussed. Bhagwan, Jeev, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. Out of these, the first 4 are eternal. But the 5th topic of Bhagavad Gita, Karma, we see that it is temporary. It is temporary. Krishna is beyond karma. Name karmane limpanti, name karma phalaspriha. So karma cannot offer the jiva any eternal results. This we have to understand. Karma is temporary. Karmani nirdahati kintu bhajam. Brahma Samhita also says that all karma can be destroyed through bhakti. Monistic jnana simply warps and distorts the vision of the ultimate eternal truth. Ultimate eternal truth is Krishna, but through the Jnana Marg, we get enamored by just the Brahma Jyoti and we miss the opportunity to have darshan of Krishna. However, by the mercy of Sri Krishna, all spiritual perfection for the jiva is ensured when the jiva executes bhakti to Krishna. The first 2 categories of spiritualists are thus known as the followers of Karma Kand and Jnana Kand, respectively. So materialistic people and Siddhi Kamis, they come under Karma Kand broadly. And then Jnana Kand is the Jnananistha spiritualists. Thus their religious goals and practices are all ultimately naimittic. Please listen carefully. These 2 categories of spiritualists are followers of Karma Kand and Jnana Kand. And thus their religious goals and practices are all ultimately naimittic, because karma is also temporary. And in Jnana Kand, they want liberation. They want to merge into Brahmajyoti because they don't want to suffer Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi in this material world. So because their spiritual activities are propelled and inspired by being conditioned in this world, they are also naimittic, because there is a nimitta, there is a hetu. Oh, sorry, I forgot to make it full screen. I should do like this. Now it's better. So it is naimittic. Only members of the 3rd category, the Ishanugat, can truly be called devotees. Those who worship Durga Devi, Ganesh Ji, Lord Shiva, Surya Dev are followers of Jnana Kand. Their participation in the Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. of Bhakti is done solely with the motive of obtaining mukti. Unko mukti chahiye. They don't want to suffer. They want mukti, which they define as the achievement of merging into the impersonal, undifferentiated Brahman. That's what they want. They want to just merge into Brahman. Bas. Ek ho jao. Brahma Jyoti mein. Leen ho jao. Bas. Ultimate. Kuch nahi fir. That's what they want. They are Jnana Kand. They want to merge into the impersonal Brahman. Those amongst them who are not desirous of bhukti or mukti, when performing Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc., are factually serving the Supreme Lord Shri Vishnu through the medium of these different devas. Te api mam eva kaunteya yajantya avidhi purvaka. Amongst these Panchopasana deities, these 5 deities, the Shri Murti, deity of Bhagwan Vishnu, is eternal. You see, there are 4. 1 Durga Devi, 2 Ganesh, 3 Shivji, 4 Surya Dev. Kitne mein? 4. 4. There are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it is Panchopasana. 5th is Shri Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. Among these 5 deities, the Shri Murti, the deity form of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu, is eternal, absolutely spiritual, and omnipotent, all powerful. Only Krishna. However, if one worships the Shri Murti of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu, not accepting it to be non-different from Bhagwan himself, Pratima nahi tumi, Sakshad Vrajendra Nandan, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describes in the Sakshi Gopal pastime in the Madhya Leela, that you are not just a statue, you are Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. Shaligrama Shilayantu Sakshat Shri Krishna Sevanam. Nityam Sannihista Tatra Vasudevo Jagadguru. This is a pranam mantra for Shaligram Shilas. The Shaligram Shila Seva is Sakshat Krishna Seva. Nityam Sannihista Tatra. Eternally Krishna is residing as Shaligram Dev, Shaligram Bhagwan. So if one worships the Shri Murti of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu, not accepting it to be non-different from Bhagwan himself, then the worship is mundane and temporary. Kyunki adhikari nahi hai. Understanding nahi hai, adhikar nahi hai. Understand? So it depends on the adhikar, it depends on the mood of the sadhak. Dear son, the deity worship you conduct at home is not paramarthik, because you do not acknowledge that the Shri Murti of Bhagwan is eternal and transcendental. You don't acknowledge. Therefore, the worship that you are conducting, you think the deity is temporary. Then Krishna thinks your bhakti, your acts of bhakti are also naimittik. They are temporary. Dear son, the deity worship you conduct at home is not paramarthik, because you do not acknowledge that Shri Murti of Bhagwan is Sakshat Bhagwan, is eternal, is transcendental. You are not an Ishanugat surrendered to Bhagwan. You are not Ishanugat person. You are not. You are Jnannishtha or Siddhikami. Devidas was Jnannishtha. I hope you have been enlightened about the difference between Nitya Upasana, eternal deity worship, and Naimittik Upasana, temporary, ritualistic deity worship. Abhi Ganesh Chaturthi is coming, so Ganesh ji ko bithao, fir unko visarjan kar do. So this is all Naimittik. Oh, nahi karenge, if we don't do, then there will be bad luck. Then Navratra Devi will sit, then she will go, then we will cut a bakra on Dashera. Dhaavya Divshi bakra. In the Maharashtrian culture, Devi sits, 9 days there is puja, and 10th day bakra on Dashera. So this is all not our path of pure Vaishnavism. So I hope you are enlightened about the difference between Nitya Upasana, which is eternal deity worship, which is what Srila Prabhupada taught us, that this is Sakshat Krishna. Shri Vigraha Aradhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandiram Arjanadam Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaram. The concept that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave of deity worship, it is Sakshat Krishna. How Mahaprabhu used to experience ecstasy looking at Jagannath. He saw Jagannath in the threefold bending form of Shyam Sundar. How Mahaprabhu used to dance in front of the different deities that Mahaprabhu had darshan of during his tours and travels. How much love. Mahaprabhu never considered the deity to be a statue or the worship to be done because of some material hetu, some material. Never Mahaprabhu. Always teaching us the pure devotion. So that is Nitya Upasana. Whereas people like you, my dear Devidas, although your intentions are good, but because you have no faith that the deity is non-different from Krishna, absolutely non-different from Krishna. Therefore, your upasana of the deity is naimittik, temporary, it is ritualistic, and it is idol worship, not deity worship. Devidas, yes, if one worships the Shri Murti but does not accept this form as eternal, such worship is material and not spiritual. Nevertheless, could this mundane ritualistic worship not offer the worshipper clues to the other higher spiritual truths? Devidas is asking, correct, I understand that if one does not have faith that the deity of Krishna is eternal and worshipable, But still, whatever Shravan Kirtanam he does, even though the understanding is faulty, will that not lead to spiritual elevation and higher levels of advancement? Sripad Lahiri Maharaj says, that may be true. That may be true, yes. It is a beginning, and the devotee will evolve and make progress eventually. That may be true. But still, such worship cannot be designated as Nitya Dharma. Even though they are getting some Sukriti, but it cannot be designated as Nitya Dharma. It is Naimittik because of the conceptions of the practitioner. In Vaishnava Dharma, Vaishnavas worship the Lord's Shri Murti as an eternal form. Eternal form. This is Sakshat Krishna. Krishna is eternal. The deity is also eternal. Hence, their worship is Nitya Dharma. So it depends on our philosophical understanding, conviction, and our eligibility, our adhikar. Devidas says, the Shri Murti forms are sculptured by man from matter, from a stone, from metal, from wood. How can one see them as absolute and eternal? The log of wood, I saw it. Then the log of wood was carved. Then you paint the face of the deity, the limbs of the deity, and it becomes Daru Brahma, becomes Jagannath. Or from metal, or from stone like marble, you carve a statue. It's a statue. It's made from matter, made by a person, from matter, material things. How can one see it as absolute? How can one see it as eternal? Lahiri Maharaj. The Shri Murti worship of the Vaishnavas is not the same as that idea. No. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is positively not the Nirakar Brahman, the formless Brahman. He is Satchidananda Vigraha, the embodied form of eternality, absolute knowledge, and transcendental bliss, endowed with all the potency. This is the Shri Murti of Vaishnava worship. The deity is embodiment form of, because we cannot see Krishna with our eyes, so Krishna has kindly taken the deity form to accept our service. But that is Krishna, eternal, absolute knowledge, bliss, Satchidananda deity. At first, the form of Bhagwan appears in the spirit. Please listen carefully. This is very important Siddhanta. What is Prana Pratisthapana? At first, the form of Bhagwan appears in the spiritual consciousness of the devotee and is reflected within his mind. Comes in the consciousness and then comes in the mind. The Shri Murti is then constructed according to his vision of the devotee. The way the devotee has had darshan of Krishna, like that, the Murti is to be created. The Shri Murti is then constructed according to this vision of the devotee. The devotee saw Krishna within the mind. And through the potency of bhakti, Bhagwan is attracted to manifest his Satchidananda form from within that statue, from within that Shri Murti. What beautiful Siddhanta. I hope everybody understood. Please pay attention. This is very important. At first, the form of Bhagwan appears in the spiritual consciousness of the pure devotee and is reflected within his mind. In the mind, he is able to see. Santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Yam shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam. The Shri Murti is then constructed. After that, darshan happens in the heart. Then the Shri Vigraha is constructed according to the vision. These are Krishna's hands, this is Krishna's posture, how these are Krishna's eyes are. And through the potency of bhakti, which means a pure devotee comes and through his bhakti shakti requests Krishna to come and reside in that statue. Please listen carefully. The Shri Murti is then constructed according to this vision of the devotee, and through the potency of bhakti, Bhagwan is attracted. Krishna is attracted. Aham bhakta paradhina. Satyam vidatum nija vritta bhashitam. Devotee says, you come and live as this, appear as this deity. Please, Krishna. Krishna has to listen. Aham bhakta paradhina. Through the potency of bhakti, Bhagwan is attracted to manifest his Satchidananda form from within the Shri Murti. When the pure devotee sees that the Shri Murti of Bhagwan, Shri Murti unites with the transcendental form of Bhagwan, that the devotee sees within his heart. When the pure devotee sees the Shri Murti of Bhagwan, that Shri Murti unites with the transcendental form of Bhagwan that the devotee sees within his heart. Please understand. The devotee had darshan of Krishna in the heart. Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Now, when this pure devotee who had darshan of Krishna in the heart, he looks at the deity. He looks at the deity. Then the deity का उस भगवान का उस deity में संचार होता है. भगवान उस मूर्ति में प्रतिष्ठित हो जाते हैं. इसे कहते हैं प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना. कैसे होता है ये? Simply by the glance of the pure devotee. देखो, pure devotee loves Krishna and he has had darshan of Krishna in the heart because he is a sadhu, santa. Santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. वो vilokayanti means to see. Constantly they are having darshan of Krishna. When this pure devotee has a statue of Krishna fashioned, the way he is visualizing in his samadhi, in his meditation, in his dhyana avastha, like that the deity is made. Now when this pure devotee comes and glances at the deity, then the deity who had manifested in the heart merges into that statue, and that statue becomes Sachidananda Bhagwan. When the pure devotee sees the Shri Murti of Bhagwan, that Shri Murti unites with the transcendental form of Bhagwan that the devotee sees within his heart. Hari Bol. The Jnani's conception of Shri Murti worship is not the same as that of the Vaishnavas. Conception is very different. Therefore, we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam, Jaiva Dharma, to get these sweet conceptions. The conception is not the same as the Vaishnavas, what the Jnanis have. They are doing it Panchopasana to get mukti. The Jnanis believe that the Brahman concept is fused into the material form of the deity by their imagination. And the Brahman remains in that material form as long as is needed for the worship. Later, the form is to be considered as mere material object. Hare Krishna. They think that, yeah, the Brahman may come in a deity, so okay to bow down. Namo Narayana, Namo Narayana, you can do. But actually, Brahman manifests in that material form of deity only as long as needed for worship. Then Brahman goes away. And then it becomes mere material object. This is the concept of the Jnanis. Ponder upon these points deeply, my dear Devidas, and try to understand the differences in these approaches to deity worship. Lahiri Maharaj is telling his son. So try to understand. When one, by the mercy of a genuine guru, receives initiation, Sri Lahiri Maharaj is telling Devidas, when, by the mercy of a genuine guru, one receives initiation into the path of Vaishnavism, then the different results of these contrasting forms of deity worship become understandable. Like Guru Kripa, one can understand. Devidas says, I have gradually become convinced that the Vaishnavas are not just some crazy fanatics, but they are capable of rational analysis, and they are capable of deeply probing the science of Archanam, deity worship. On one hand, worshipping the Shri Murti of Bhagwan as non-different from Sachidananda, form of the Lord, and on the other hand, extrapolating the concept of impersonal Brahman onto matter, and then worshipping the deity are certainly opposite processes, and they are opposing processes. The first is Ishanugat conception, worshipping Shri Murti of Bhagwan as non-different from Sachidananda, form of Lord. And the other one, it is the Jnana Nishtha Upasana, extrapolating the concept of impersonal Brahman onto matter. Yeah, that Brahman only comes in matter and may become some deity, famous deity, Ranganath or Jagannath or our Balaji, Lord Venkateshwar, like that. Their conception is. Superficially, the rituals and performances may appear to be same for a Jnana Nishtha person and an Ishanugat person. The rituals, the performance may appear to be same. Both are cooking, both are offering arti. However, there is a great distinction in the faith. Shraddha Anusar, one becomes advanced. There's a distinction in the faith and conceptions of the two worshippers. Father, you have removed a major doubt in my mind, and I will contemplate these subjects very seriously, he says. Devidas, Vidyaratna, and Shambhu returned to their lodging and came back to Lahiri Maharaj later in the evening. No further discussions were possible with father at that time because everyone was simply engrossed in the joy of singing and chanting Harinam, Harinam Anand. The next day in the afternoon, Devidas and Shambhu came and joined the other Vaishnavas assembled in the courtyard of Sri Premdas Parvan Babaji Maharaj in Gudrundvip. And Devidas and Shambhu sat close to Lahiri Mahasaya. Just then, the Qazi, this is very interesting. Just then, the Qazi, a head of the Muslim religion and the magistrate of Brahman Pushkarini village, arrived. Standing up courteously, the Vaishnavas welcomed the Qazi heartily. In turn, the Qazi exchanged warm greetings with the Vaishnavas and joined them. The Muslim Qazi, head of the Muslim religion, this Qazi, he came and joined the Vaishnavas. Everyone sat together, expectantly waiting to hear Shri Paramhamsa Premdas Babaji Maharaj to speak. Now let's see what happens. Shri Paramhamsa Premdas Babaji Maharaj asked the Qazi, "You are truly fortunate, being a descendant of Shri Chand Qazi, who was personally favored by our Lord Shriman Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev. So please be merciful upon us." Look at the vision. Shri Premdas Paramhamsa Babaji Maharaj is a disciple of Shri Pradyumna Brahmachari, who is an associate of Shri Nityananda Prabhu. Just see his humility. He is glorifying the Qazi. "Oh Qazi, you are so fortunate, you are so fortunate. You are born in the family of Chand Qazi, who was favored by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." The Qazi replied, "By Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we are also the recipients of the Vaishnava's mercy. Shri Gauranga is the Lord of our hearts." Shri Gauranga is the Lord of our hearts, Prannath, Ishtadev. We begin everything by first offering our humble obeisances to Lord Gauranga. Lahiri Mahasaya was proficient in both Urdu and Arabic, the two languages that the Muslims use, Urdu and Arabic. The languages used by the Muslims, Urdu and Arabic, Lahiri Mahasaya knew them very well. He had deeply studied the Holy Quran Sharif. Having read all the 30 Shepharas or corollaries of the Holy Quran Sharif. In addition, Sri Lahiri Mahasaya was well acquainted with the Sufi philosophy and had studied many of their literatures too. Lahiri Mahasaya, he had studied Sufi, he had studied the Holy Quran, he had studied Arabic, Urdu. He knew, he had even studied the corollaries. Taking the opportunity of the Qazi's presence, Sri Lahiri Mahasaya asked him, "What is the Islamic concept of mukti?" Hari Bol. Qazi replied, very interesting conversation. The Muslim Qazi replied, "Our equivalent of the Sanskrit term mukti," I will explain. What is the Islamic concept of mukti? That is a question Lahiri Mahasaya asked. And the Qazi replies, please listen, our equivalent of the Sanskrit term Jaiva is Ruh. आप लोगों ने ये सुना होगा ना? Ruh. Hindi songs में Bollywood में होता है. Because they use a lot of Urdu words nowadays. So the Muslim Qazi is saying, our equivalent of the Sanskrit term Jaiva is Ruh. Atma. Ruh. Ruh is found in two conditions of existence. Atma, Jeev, is found in two conditions. Ruh Mujarrad, or the liberated soul. Liberated soul, Mukta Jeev, is in the Islamic tradition is called Ruh Mujarrad. Ruh Mujarrad, liberated soul. And Ruh Tarkibi is the conditioned soul, Baddha Jeev. They call Ruh Tarkibi. Our term for Chit or spirit is Mujarrad. And for Achit, means dull matter, we use the term Jisam. For Chinmay or spiritual things, they use the word Mujarrad. Mujarrad means something spiritual. And material means Jisam. Mujarrad Ruh, the pure spirit soul, resides in the spiritual realm called Alam Misal. The spiritual realm is called Alam Misal, which is, Alam Misal is a spiritual world, according to Islam, which is transcendental to material, time, and space. transcendental to material time and space. The tarkibi ruh, the conditioned soul, they reside in jism, in the material world. And jism or material world is bound by time and space. Time and space, bound. It's material world. Spiritual world is not bound by material time and material space. That is mujarrad ruh, the spiritual world. It is transcendental to material time and space. But tarkibi ruh, the conditioned soul, they reside in the jism, which is bound by time and space. They reside in the material world. The tarkibi ruh, conditioned souls, are endowed with a material mind, which is full of desires and malafut, ignorance. Full of desires and ignorance, avidya and kamvasana. That is a situation of tarkibi ruh, the conditioned soul who lives in the material world, lives in jism, material world, and is filled with mundane desires and ignorance. However, the mujarrad ruh, the pure souls, are pure and aloof from the contaminations of jism. The impure existence, and they reside in the spiritual kingdom known as Alam al-Mashal. The mujarrad ruh, the pure souls, they are pure and aloof from the contamination of material called jism, which is the impure existence. And mujarrad ruh, the pure souls, where do they reside? They reside in the spiritual world called Alam al-Mashal. Alam al-Mashal. The ruh is purified by the flowering of ishq or spiritual love. Ishq. We have heard this word in Bollywood also. Ishq, Urdu word. Ruh is purified by the flowering of ishq, spiritual love. Flowering means blossoming. When spiritual love blossoms, then the ruh, the atma, is purified. The place to where Paigambar Sahib, the prophet, was taken by Khuda, the Supreme Lord. So Khuda is Supreme Lord, and his representative, the prophet, who preaches the message of Khuda, is Paigambar Muhammad Sahib, Prophet Muhammad ji. He is the prophet, and the Supreme Lord is Khuda. The place to where Paigambar Sahib, the prophet, was taken by Khuda, the Supreme Lord, is not influenced by jism. It is not influenced by the material world. It is not influenced by material space and time. But even there, the ruh is banda or servitor. Khuda ke banda means servant of Khuda. Khuda is the master. Khuda is the master. Even in the spiritual world. Are you appreciating how beautiful this Islamic philosophy is? And it is so congruent, so much matches our Vedic Siddhanta, isn't it? It's simply mind-blowing. The place where Paigambar Sahib, Prophet Muhammad, was taken by Khuda, the Supreme Lord, that place is spiritual. And it is not influenced by jism. Jism means material world. Na tad bhasite suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartate tad dhama paramam mama. But even there, even in the spiritual world, the ruha means the jiva is banda, is das. Jivera swarupa krishnera nitya das. Even in the spiritual world, we are das. The philosophy is same, you see. And Khuda is the master, even there in the spiritual world. Therefore, the relationship between banda and Khuda is eternal. The Qazi, the Musalman Qazi, is saying the relationship between banda, the servant, and Khuda is it temporary? No, it's eternal. Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das, right there. Relationship between banda. Bandera Swarupa Khodara Nitya Das. Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. Why? Because that place where this happens, the relationship between banda, servant, and Khuda, the master, that place is beyond jism. It is beyond the material world. It is beyond space, and it is beyond time. Therefore, that relationship is eternal. To attain this status by purification is known as mukti. Hari bol. Same philosophy. Now listen, the Quran Sharif and the books of the Sufis have recorded all these points, but not everyone can comprehend the meanings. Dekho, it is there, but they cannot understand. Just like the Hindus. How many Hindus can understand Srimad Bhagavatam? कितने हिंदू है जो कह सकते हैं कि हमने श्रीमद् भागवतम को समझा है, हमने गीता जी को समझा है? इस्कॉन में आने से पहले क्या हम लोग समझे थे? कुछ नॉलेज नहीं था, अभी भी कुछ नॉलेज नहीं है, स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य मर्सी ऑफ श्रील प्रभुपाद ज्ञानांजन शलाकया. इसीलिए बार बार जय श्रील प्रभुपाद, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद, ट्रांसलेशन बाय श्रील प्रभुपाद, बिलवेड गुरु महाराज, परपोर्ट बाय श्रील प्रभुपाद, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद 1000 बार बोलते हैं. क्यों? नॉट रिचुअलिस्टिकली, बिकॉज रियली वी ओ दैट ग्रेटिट्यूड. Where would we be without Srila Prabhupada? Socho. I am thinking of my life. There was no understanding. Keval naam ke vaste Hindu. Just for namesake Hindu. Did not understand Bhagavad Gita ka ek verse. एक वर्स नहीं. कोई टीवी सीरियल देख के सिद्धांत समझ में नहीं आता है. That is not the way. तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेशते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिनस्तत्वदर्शन तस्मात् गुरुं प्रपद्येत जिज्ञासु श्रेय उत्तम. So not everyone can understand. The Qazi is saying that Quran Sharif and the teachings of the Sufis, they have recorded these points about mukti, about Khuda being the master, the Ruh being a banda, a servant eternally. But not everyone can understand these meanings. Just like the Hindus don't understand Srimad Bhagavatam, majority of them, majority Muslims may not understand these subtle philosophical points which are there in their holy scriptures. Since Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu instructed Chand Kazi on these esoteric subjects, we have been able to pursue the pure devotional path and we have been able to become pure devotees. Hari Bol. Lahiri Mahashaya asks, what is the essential lesson of the Quran Sharif? Hari Bol. Are you interested? What is the essential lesson of the Quran Sharif? The Qazi Sahib says, the Holy Quran has described Behesht, the personal abode of Khuda. The personal abode of Khuda, Tad Dham Paramam is called Behesht. The Quran has described the personal abode of Khuda, master, is Behesht. But has not greatly detailed Abadat, the liberated spiritual life. This detailed knowledge is not found. Greatly detailed Abadat, liberated spiritual life, ka varnan nahi hai. Is not described in detail. However, we understand that life there is Abadat, eternal. Abadat means eternal. And in the presence of Khuda, the Mujarrad Ruh, the liberated soul, they are grossly in sublime joy, simply by the sight of Khuda. All this has been confirmed by the teachings of Shri Gauranga Dev. Ecstasy. Shri Lahiri Mahashaya asks, does Khuda have a form? Does Khuda have a form? Qazi replies, the Quran Sharif denies that Khuda has form. Hare Krishna. The Quran Sharif denies that Khuda has form. That's why Muslims don't allow making paintings of Khuda. The Quran Sharif denies that Khuda has form. However, Shri Chaitanya Dev explained to Chand Kazi that Quran denies that Khuda has form, indicates that Quran forbids a jismani. You know what jism is? Material word. A jismani, a material form of Khuda. जैसा हम लोग कहते हैं ना कि भगवान निराकार है, निर्गुण है, निराकार है. It means Krishna doesn't have a nirakar, means doesn't have a material form, and nirgun means does not have material qualities. Correct? That's why Quran says that Khuda does not have form. It means does not have a material form. Does not have jasmani, jisamani. Does not have a material form. Khuda does not have material form. But does not forbid the pure mujarradi transcendental form. Quran does not deny that Khuda has a mujarradi, a transcendental divine form. The Payangambar Sahib, Prophet Muhammad, the great prophet, saw the ecstatic form of Khuda to the degree of his particular elevation and eligibility. However, the rasas, the spiritual mellows, were veiled to him. The spiritual mellows of Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyarati, Madhuryarati, Swakiya Bhav, Parakiya Bhav, Viyog, Milan, these things were veiled to him. These details are not given because the details are given by the acharyas based on the eligibility of the audience. Lahiri Mahasaya. So what is the Sufi philosophy then? Qazi. In their philosophy, the main concept is Ana al-Haq. I am Khuda. How we have Brahmawadis? Something similar are the Sufis in Islam. They are also Brahmawadis. They are monistic. Your monistic Advaitavad philosophy and the Sufi Ashwaf philosophy are very similar. Lahiri Mahasaya. Are you Sufi? Qazi says, no, we follow the pure devotional path. We are surrendered to Sri Gauranga Dev. The discussion continued for some time. The Qazi finally taking leave of the Vaishnavas, offering them his respects. Qazi offered Dandavat Pranam to Sri Premdas Paramahams Babaji Maharaj, the senior most Vaishnava, to Vaishnav Das Babaji Maharaj, to Lahiri Mahasaya. He offered all of them respect. This is the Bhaichara, the love and brotherhood between Islam and Sanatan Dharma. The evening concluded with congregational chanting of Harinam Sankirtan. Thus ends the 5th chapter of Sri Jaiva Dharma, entitled Vaidhi Bhakti is Nitya Dharma, not Naimittik Dharma, as Lahiri Mahasaya explained to his son Devidas. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. So thank you very much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, so we have Shama Kishori Mataji. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I had actually 3 questions, but I know there are a lot of hands, so maybe I'll just ask one. You're talking about deities and how Vaishnavas should worship deities. We see that Pratima Nahi Tumi Sakshat Vrajendra Nandana. But in my case, I know this theoretically, but it's not that I can actually see Krishna in that deity. I mean, I know that's the theory. So how can we actually get to see and feel that, Krishna is actually present and not just know it in theory?
Correct. So what you're saying is, theoretically you know that Pratima Nahi Tumi Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. You are not a statue, you are not a Murti or Shri Vigraha. Correct? Theoretically you know because it is mentioned in Guru Ashtakam, because it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrit. Through our Bhakti Shastras, through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through our Acharyas, through Srila Prabhupada, you know theoretically. And your question is how that theoretical understanding can become realization. Correct? So that is the journey of the sadhak. To go, at least see what deity worship you are doing is Nitya Dharma. Why? Because your conceptions are clear. Your conceptions are correct. Now, those conceptions have not transformed into realization yet, but you're on the path. You're on the path to the correct destination. You're on the right road. Whereas those who are doing it in the karma kandi way or a jnana nishtha way, they are doing it in a way that they're on the wrong road. They're going in the wrong direction. They're on the wrong highway. And so therefore, there is considered naimittik. So at least your conceptions are correct because of you're in parampara, bona fide Vaishnava parampara. So those conceptions becoming realization, that is the journey of the sadhak. And according to our sincerity, how sincerely we practice, that quickly we will make spiritual advancement. Okay. Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Was that okay, Mataji? Shama Kishori Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Kirtana Sundari Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji. It was very nice session.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, I have one question that Devi Das, he asked this question to Lahiri Maharshi about this Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all the Navavida Bhakti, as to be Naimetika if it is not performed by the devotees, pure devotees. But then the answer was that those who are Ishanugata, when they perform these 9 processes of bhakti, it is not Naimetika, it is Nitya.
Correct.
But now, devotees, like I'll talk about myself, who is following the process of Krishna consciousness, but is not 100% absorbed, has not become pure. So the limbs that I follow, the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, is it Naimetik or it is Nitya?
It is Nitya Karma because you have never in your whole life, Kirtana Sundari Mataji, never in your whole life have you performed any archana without the photograph of Param Pujya Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj.
Okay.
We always perform archana when the pujaris perform archana in ISKCON. We always keep our spiritual master's photo. What is the mood? That I am doing it on behalf of my Gurudev. Physically, my Gurudev is not present here. I don't have adhikar to touch Radharani. I don't have adhikar to touch Shyam Sundar. But Guru Maharaj has ordered. So as an extension of Guru Maharaj, I am doing it on behalf of my Guru Maharaj. And because Guru Maharaj is a pure devotee, we may not be pure devotees. But because our Gurudev is a pure devotee, because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, it is Nitya, not Naimittik. Because we are doing it on their behalf. Can their puja be Naimittik?
No.
That is the answer.
Okay.
We are doing it on their behalf, always. है ना? हमेशा photo रखते हैं हम लोग. Altar.
Yeah.
ठीक.
Yes, and Prabhu, one second question about, you mentioned about the deities, that how that pran pratishtha happens.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it beautiful?
It was very beautiful. But now my question is, how about the home deities?
Yes.
There we just go
I
and
asked this same question to my Shiksha Gurudev, Shripad Mukundatta Prabhu, who is the head pujari of Krishna Balram Mandir for now more than 30 years. So Shripad Mukundatta Prabhu told me that when a pure devotee simply tells, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, you worship Radha Nilamani. बस ऐसा बोल दिए ना तो through their satyam vidhatum nija bhritya bhashitam, because the nija bhritya, the personal servant of Krishna, has spoken, Krishna will manifest and accept your worship, and they are as good as a pran pratisthit deities. There is no difference. Simply by giving agya, okay, chalo, you start worshipping. Gurudev gives name to the deities, or Gurudev gives you permission, gives you blessings. Okay, you bless, I bless you, you worship Gaurnitai. आपको दिए है Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj ne. You worship your Gaurnitai, bas. Then it is, those deities are as good as pran pratisthapna whoever deities. There is no difference. I personally heard this from my Shiksha Guru, that if a pure devotee says, you worship, gives you permission, names the deities, orders you worship, gives you permission, bas, one does not have to go through all the ceremonies of prana pratisthapna. If one can go through, very good. But if one cannot go through, but Shri Gurudev, a pure devotee, has said, okay, you worship Gaurnitai. Okay, you worship Radha Krishna. This is their name. Satyam vidhatum nija bhrit. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro tomara shakati aache. Gurudev has the full potency to deliver Krishna to us. So that is as good as pran pratishtha. Now we should not consider that our home deities are less than pran. They are sakshat Radha Krishna, sakshat Gaurnitai. That should be our bhav. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhanavad pranams.
Divya Agrawal Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I had a question about deity worship again. Now, what about deities that are not properly installed and they don't have a proper Guru Parampara? I won't name any temple, but personally I've seen there was this one temple in Atlanta, and there were 4 pujaris in it. And then what happened is the pujaris had a fight, So each one opened their own temples. One opened a Ganesh temple, the other one opened a Durga temple, and they all are celebrating the same festival and sending out, flyers that, okay, you come to my temple for the so and so festival. And there's another Radha Krishna temple only that I went with a friend. And again, there was no Guru Parampara there, and the worship is not like, there are no pujaris, there's not like proper deity worship going on, and they're doing pretty much everything there. They are celebrating Navratri, they're having, so it's like a khichdi. So what about those deities?
So we have on Pons de Leon Road, Pons de Leon Avenue, we have our ISKCON Atlanta temple. We have Gaur Nitai, we have Radha Madan Mohan, we have Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Gaur Nitai came by the blessings and permission and order of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Radha Madan Mohan, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra were installed by Param Pujya Srila Jaiva Swami Maharaj, who is a pure devotee. So we go to ISKCON Atlanta on Pons de Leon Avenue. We should not call other temples khichdi or their worship as khichdi. We should not judge them. Somebody is worshipping Mother Durga Devi. Somebody is worshipping Shri Ganesh Ji, who is the scribe of Bhagwan Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasdev, who wrote Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita that we are reading. It is coming by the mercy of Shri Ganesh Ji. And somebody is worshipping Radha Krishna, whether they are in parampara or not, whether they are doing proper Pancharatri ki vidhi or not, that is not our business, and that is not our outlook. We should not judge them, and we should certainly not call them in a anything less than respectful way. And we should not bother with them. You come to Pons de Leon Avenue, you are coming already so nicely with your family. You keep coming. You come for the Friday satsangs and be happy. Don't worry about others. Okay? Hare Krishna. ठीक है माताजी? Yeah, we should ask questions what pertain to us, not what others are doing. Let them do what they want. We wish them the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Actually, what like I was wondering what should our sometimes like when we invite suppose like my friend tells me come to so and so temple with us, and we go and we are standing in front of deities there. So would be the same? Should we have the same feeling that this is Krishna himself?
See,
even though they are not in parampara and they are not doing the proper worship?
See, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahasaya, very beautiful pastime is given. Once Srivas Thakur went to the house of Devananda Pandit. Devananda Pandit was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. And he was not a devotee. He was not in parampara. He didn't have the proper Siddhantic understanding also. There was no devotion in his katha. And nobody was experiencing any spiritual elevation. Nobody was experiencing any spiritual advancement or any spiritual ecstasy. But Srivas Thakur went there with Shraddha. He went there with a simple heart, and he was simply absorbed in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, the words of Sri Shukdev Goswami. And he immediately experienced ecstasy. All the Ashtasattvic Vikar, 8 ecstatic symptoms manifested in the body of Srivas Thakur. Why? Because of his bhav. Because of his bhav. So, if you have to go to those temples with your friends and you are standing, then you don't do dosh buddhi. You don't find faults. This is not properly installed. This is not in the parampara. Don't worry about all those things. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, tasya ham na pranashyami, sacha mena pranashyati. When you are in such a place, you see Krishna everywhere. Prahlad Maharaj was able to see Lord Narasimhadev everywhere, even in a pillar. So these are the worshipable forms of Radha and Krishna. So there you should not do any dosh buddhi. You fold hands and you think that you are standing in front of your Radha Madan Mohan. You think you are standing in front of your Gaur Nitai. They have manifested here in this form. Hari Bol. And you happily take darshan, bow down to them. Manmara bhavan bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Remember that verse and you offer your worship and you come back. Okay, Divya Mataji? That way you will make spiritual progress more and more.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vrinda Kumari Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much for this wonderful explanation. Prabhuji, based on the explanation you gave to Kirtida Mataji's question, and also what Lahiri Mahashaya says to his son, that after initiation by the Guru's mercy, a Vaishnava is able to see the Satchidananda form of the deity. So does it mean that ideally we should do the deity worship only after initiation or taking shelter of Guru Maharaj?
Ideally, yes.
Okay.
Because Guru Maharaj, I think you have to mute. Guru Maharaj gives us this engagement in deity worship. Shri Vigraha Aradhana Nityanana Shringar Tan Mandir Marjanadav Yuktasya Bhaktams. Yuktasya Bhaktams means engages the disciple. Guru Maharaj engages us in deity worship. We cannot become engaged ourselves. It is a Guru Pradatta Seva. Shri Vigraha Seva is Guru Pradatta Seva. Guru has to give. Therefore, one should do deity worship after being initiated. And even if one does it before initiation, because in ISKCON initiation can take a lot of time, we should do it with the permission of Shri Guru. We have taken Guru Padashray. Now, initiation is a formality. It has yet to happen. So while we are waiting, if we have the desire to worship the deities, then we should take permission from Guru Maharaj and then we should worship. Ideally, after initiation. But like that. Is that okay, Mataji? Vrinda Kumari Mataji? That answers your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Guru
Yeah. Thank you.
Vishwanath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Shivji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for such wonderful class. This is actually quite mind-opening with the explanation, with example of in line with what we know, and the Quran as well too, that the way it explained is beautiful line together. Yes. At least for myself, I usually see this sometimes that there's some difference, but now I know that there is not. If one do in the pure form. My question though that I want to ask is because I heard a lecture before, like I was told, like when we worship the Lord and we ask, okay, for remove like obstacle or help us or do these sort of things, we are still worshiping in the mood of like in I would say naimatik rather than nitya, because we're still we're not there with that pure love. But I mean, I know it's a step ladder to get there. For us who are at the bottom of the step trying to get up, this is the mood that we have. So is this a way, if we continue to like ask for, say, remove an obstacle, are we then worshiping in the naimatik form or in a nitya form essentially, but praying to Lord Krishna rather than, because Ganeshji is a removal, but we're seeing Krishna as, okay, an obstacle removal. I don't know if my question makes sense.
It makes sense, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So it is not pure bhakti. If we are doing it for removing material impediments or material problems, then it is not pure bhakti, because pure bhakti is defined by Srila Rupa Goswami. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavratam anukulyana krishnanushilanam bhakti uttama. Dekho, if there is some problem in life, then the siddhanta that we have to apply is from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatyenu kampam susamikshmano bhunjana. Bhunjana means to tolerate. Bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. We should think that this vipak, this problem is atmakrit. I have created it. It's a reaction to my previous karma. We should accept it. Now, if you're asking Krishna, remove this problem, then is that pure bhakti? Is that Krishna anukul? Because who is giving that trouble to us, so-called trouble? Krishna is giving. If we complain to Krishna, Krishna, this trouble has come, save me, remove this problem. That means we are fighting Krishna. So is that anukul? No. We are pratikul to Krishna because Krishna is giving something and we are saying, I don't want this, take it away. Is that anukul to Krishna? But Srila Rupa Goswami is anukulyana Krishna. If we complain to Krishna, it is against Sharanagati. It is against Sharanagati. Sharanagati means to tolerate. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the 28th chapter of Until of Chaitanya Charitamrita, entitled the Shikshashtaka Prayers, explains the meaning of Taroriva Sahishnuna. Sahishnu means two things: no complaints and no demands. Very simple. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sahishnu, tolerance, means no complaining and no demanding. No saying that, oh, this person did this, oh, this is happening in my life, complaining, and not making any demands. Can I get this so I can tolerate? Can I get this so I can do this? Give me this. No. No demands and no complaints. That is the principle of Taroriva Sahishnuna. And if we are not tolerating, we don't accept Krishna's protection as always there. Rakshisheti Vishwaso. Avashya Rakshive Krishna Vishwasa Palan. If that is not there, then are we on the platform of Sharanagati? No. And if we are not on the platform of even Sharanagati, then we cannot be Anukul to Krishna. So in short, whatever vipak, whatever troubles come in life, they are ultimately sanctioned by Krishna. So a devotee thinks, this is the treatment I need. This is the prescription from the Vaidyaraj, the greatest Vaidya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has given me this, so I will tolerate it. That's what Gopinath Patnaik did when he was placed on the Chang. He did not say, Mahaprabhu, can you hear me? Mahaprabhu, save me. No. Tattenu kampam susamikshama. Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. He was simply on his fingers chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Was he afraid? Yes. He was sweating. He was trembling in fear, looking down on those swords on which he was going to be thrown. Imagine, some sword will go into the genital, some sword will go into the belly, some sword will get stuck into the leg. It's a slow, painful death. It's not a clean death where you are beheaded. That's a soldier's death, a clean death. Clean sweep and you're beheaded, instant death. This is not a clean death. Chang. It's a painful, slow death. He was scared. But he accepted it as a treatment. A patient cannot complain. Why you are giving me this surgery? This is very painful surgery. Give me that surgery. No, that is not an Anukul patient. So Anukul Bhakt is one who will not complain against Krishna's plan. This is Krishna's plan. Okay. There are so many sins I have committed. This is just a token punishment. Atma Vipaka. Bhunjana. Tolerate it. And while tolerating, Ridava Kakbir Vidhan Namaste. Serving Krishna with body, mind, and heart and words. Such a person can get Krishna. So what you are describing is definitely not on the platform of Uttama Bhakti. It is definitely not Anukul to Krishna because we are complaining to Krishna. So it is not Anukul to Krishna. It is not on the platform of Anya Abhilashita Shunyam because there is Abhilasha to be comfortable in this world. But Uttama Bhakti is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Jnana, Karma, Adi, Anavratam, not covered by Jnana, Nishtha or Karma Mishra Bhakti. No. And Anukulena Krishna, always favorable to Krishna. Anushilanam. Anushilanam means to do it under the guidance of Guru. Krishna Anushilanam. Bhakti Ruttama. That is Uttama Bhakti. So we can say that the situation that you are describing, it is not on the platform of Uttama Bhakti, which is the standard for us. This is the standard given by Srila Rupa Goswami. This is the standard that Srila Prabhupada taught. So it's not on that standard. But Krishna consciousness is an evolution. It's a journey. So one may be at that level, but one should try to give up. After today, after hearing this Jaiva Dharma from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we should not do it. We should not ask. We should pray that Krishna, in this situation, how I can serve you. That was Draupadi Devi, that was Gajendra, that was Dhruv, that was Prahlad, that was Radharani and the gopis. Rurudu Suswaram Rajan, Krishna Darshana Lalasa. So like that, that is, you have to follow Mahajanvana Gatha Sapanta, to follow in their footsteps. Is this helpful, Prabhuji? Where are you? Okay. So we have many questions, we'll keep going. So we finished Divya Mataji, Vrindavai, Parima Mataji, please go ahead. Then Shama Kova Mataji, then Lippi ji, and then Gokuleshwari Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Prabhuji, I had this one question. It's about deity worship. Prabhuji, I have heard, I don't know if I'm correct, that if a person worships a deity for like 12 years or for a very long time, then it's as good as like it's a pran pratishthit deity. and the worship actually goes to the deities. Prabhuji, but if some people have that bhav, that natural inclination, sometimes they have, and they may not have found any guru. So do you think Krishna accepts their service? If they have that kind of inclination, there's some people who naturally have an inclination to worship a particular deity. Like, for example, like for personally, for me,
Understand. I understood your question, I think, Parima Mataji. So yes, see, Jivara Swarup hai Krishna and Nityadas. It is the birthright of everyone to worship and serve Krishna. And Krishna is bhavgrahi. Murkho vadati Vishnaye, Dhiras vadati Vishnave. Ubhayo hi tu samam punyam. Bhavagrahi Janardana. Bhavagrahi Janardana. So Krishna accepts the bhav. But whether we are able to come to the ultimate destination, the ultimate platform of Krishna Prem, and attaining the abode of the Lord, that one cannot get unless one has a guru, unless one is chanting a proper mantra in a parampara.
Yes.
But whether Krishna accepts, yes, Krishna will accept. Yome bhakta pareshi. There is no condition of initiation there. If with bhakti anybody is offering, Krishna will accept. And there are so many examples in our scriptures like that. Why 12 years? Raghunandan worshipped only once. First day of worship. Why 12 years? So it depends on the bhav. Yes, Krishna is bhavgrahi. But the siddhanta is tadvidhi pranipatena, pariprashnana sevaya. Krishna will accept, but to make more advancement, we need a guru. Is that okay, Parima Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, but will Krishna lead that person to a guru? I don't know.
Krishna leads everyone to guru.
Okay.
Nobody can get guru without Krishna. Krishna is leading everyone. Krishna is saying na tadvidhi pranipatena. That's Krishna's words. That means everybody, that's instructions for everyone. And Krishna will help. We were reading na, in our Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Rupa Shiksha, I think 15th chapter Madhya Leela, it is clearly mentioned the conversation between Rupa Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu says that Krishna, he arranges a guru outside, he arranges a guru for the sincere jiva. And from within, he is also as a guru guiding as Chaitya Guru, Paramatma. So within Paramatma, external manifestation of Chaitya Guru Paramatma is our Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. Like that. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam. Thank you, Parima Mataji. Okay, Lipi ji and then Gokuleshwari Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam. Please
Hare
accept
Krishna.
my humble obeisances. I have two questions. One is, if a person is not initiated yet, but Guruji already accepted as aspiring disciples, can they worship Guruji's Chitrapat picture?
100%. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then the second question is,
shelter, na? Guru Padashraya.
yes.
So you have taken shelter. You must worship. Yes. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
And second question is, because in New York, I'm from New York. So in the New York, there is a lot of temples. They pray so many deities, other deities like Durga Mata, Kali Mata, Saraswati Mata. So what I have observed in our nearest temple, they give a Bhagavan Sri Krishna bhoga first. Then they took that bhoga to offer to the Durga Mata. Then they mix that prasad to the all other prasad. Is that okay for us to take prasad from there or not?
So that is a personal choice, Mataji. But if one has the right bhav that this is the Uchishta of my Radha Krishna and it has been tasted by Bhagavati Durga Devi, and this is Maha Prasad and I want to eat, and that, yes, as Mahaprasad you can have. The bhav should be correct. Then there is no problem. You say Hare Krishna and you eat the prasad. In Jagannath Puri also, first bhoga is offered to Lord Jagannath and it is given to Bimla Devi then.
Yes.
Then it becomes Mahaprasad. What Jagannath has eaten, that bhoga becomes prasad. Prasad, when accepted by Shri Bimala Devi, who is Durga Devi, then it becomes Mahaprasad. So in Jagannath we say, Are Mahaprasad lo. That is the Uchishta of Shri Bimala Devi.
Yes.
So yes,
okay.
This is correct bhav. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for such a great class. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Second question, you have two questions.
The second one. The first one was the my Guruji's picture can be
okay.
worshipped.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Gokuleshwari Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I think, Prabhuji, it was Shama Mataji's turn.
Acha.
But
Shama Kumari Mataji. Oh yes, Shama Kumari. I got confused between you and Vrinda Kumari Mataji. So I thought you have already asked. So Shama Kumari Mataji, please go ahead. Then Gokuleshwari Mataji. Thank you, Gokuleshwari Mataji, for pointing that out. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gokuleshwari Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, my question is that the Swadharma that we read in Bhagavad Gita, we understand in Bhagavad Gita, that Swadharma is Nitya Dharma or Naimatik Dharma? That is one thing. And also, please, can you, I mean, it may be a little bit out of the topic, but Swadharma of a jeev can be changed or it remains the same? Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So, Mataji, just stay on unmute. Don't mute yourself. Hare Krishna.
Ji.
So, the Swadharma that you are talking about, are you talking what Lord Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, that according to the nature, one can be a Kshatriya, a Brahman, a Vaishya, Shudra? So that is Naimittik, Mataji.
Okay.
That Swabhav is simply the association of the modes of material nature. If someone has associated more with mode of goodness, then he will have Brahminical tendencies. Somebody has mixed goodness and passion, he will be Kshatriya. And then mixed passion and ignorance, he will be Vaishya. And mainly in ignorance, he will be Shudra. So that is Naimittik. That is totally in relationship to the modes of material nature. So it is completely Prapanchik. It is not Paramarthik.
Prabhuji. And in Bhagavad Gita, it says, further, if we just read, it says that the Swadharma is of two types, like one that is based on the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahman, that thing, Dharma that is given to, like according to the Varnashrama. And another one is that that when we read further, it says that Swadharma can be changed when we do the devotional service of the Lord, and then the Swadharma becomes more on the level of soul platform.
Correct.
So, okay.
Yes. So one can graduate from being on the platform of so many different types of material dharmas and following the Jaiva Dharma or the Nitya Dharma, Vaishnava Dharma. All three are synonymous. Nitya Dharma, Jaiva Dharma, Vaishnava Dharma. This is all synonymous, same meaning, different names. So one can come from the Laukik Dharma to the Nitya Dharma. One can graduate, and the way to do that is to do Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru and Krishna Ekam Sharanam. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So means जो पहले का स्वधर्म था, जो कुल धर्म है, देश धर्म है, जाति धर्म है, जो भी बाकी है, धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष है, मोक्ष धर्म, वो सब एवरीथिंग यू लीव. सर्व धर्म परित्यज्य, छोड़ दो उसको. और फिर कौन सा धर्म का पालन करो? एक ही धर्म, माम एकम शरणम व्रज. कृष्ण शरणागति, श्री कृष्ण शरणम मम, जैसे श्रीपाद वल्लभाचार्य जी ने सिखाया है, श्री कृष्ण शरणम. That is the only dharma. So that then we are graduating. Then aham toam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami. Then we don't have any rain to any devarshi, any devatas, nothing. We don't have any rain. We don't have any obligation in this world. Then our only obligation is to Krishna. And that is the mamchayo vibhicharana bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samatitayatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That is that platform, spiritual platform. So we can do that, we can attain that platform, and the way is Sharanagati, Krishna Sharanagati. Okay.
Yes. So basically, Prabhuji, इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि जब अभी शरणागति नहीं है तो हम निमित्तिक धर्म फॉलो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जब शरणागति उसी सेम सोल की जब वो शरणागत हो जाता है तो वो नित्य धर्म फॉलो कर रहे हैं. लेकिन गीता में दोनों को ही स्वधर्म बोला गया है, on the level of body and then on the level of soul. Is that right?
Correct. Correct. You are correct. Okay, the context is different. Yeah, correct. Okay. In one, the context is dealing with the world. So there it's जो तीन गुण है प्रकृति के, उसके अंतर्गत आता है स्वभाव. और दूसरा जो है वो जैव धर्म है, जीवेरा स्वरूप है कृष्ण नित्यदास, वो स्तर है, और हमें वो स्तर पे जाना.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes, Gokuleshwari Mataji, thank you for your patience. Please go ahead, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this beautiful class. प्रभुजी, मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि मैंने कहीं पे सुना था कि गौड़िया संप्रदाय में इनकी जो हमारी परंपरा है उसमें बाल गोपाल की सेवा नहीं होती है, बट मेरे पास बाल गोपाल तब से हैं जब से मुझे गौड़िया संप्रदाय के बारे में
कौन
पता
कहता
भी
है
नहीं था।
गौड़िया संप्रदाय में बाल गोपाल की सेवा पूजा नहीं है? क्या श्री चैतन्य भागवत गौड़िया ग्रंथ नहीं है? क्या श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर महाशय गौड़िया आचार्य नहीं है? क्या श्री चैतन्य देव गौड़िया नहीं? वो तो हमारे इष्ट देव है, वो तो हमारे संप्रदाय आचार्य है। देखिए, श्री चैतन्य भागवत में एक प्रसंग आता है कि एक कंठी गोपाल नामक ब्राह्मण थे। उनका नाम कंठी गोपाल था क्योंकि लड्डू गोपाल जी को अपने कंठ में धारण करके भ्रमण करते थे। और एक दिन वो जगन्नाथ मिश्र के घर पे आए और वहां पर रहे। आप जानते हो कहानी, हमने चैतन्य भागवत में पढ़ी है।
प्रभुजी आपसे सुनिए। हाँ
तो
जी।
वो तो कंठी गोपाल जो ब्राह्मण थे, वो तो लड्डू गोपाल की सेवा करते थे। वो लड्डू गोपाल आज भी है विराजमान नवद्वीप में, और लड्डू गोपाल को ही वो भात खिला रहे थे। और श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु आए, उन पे इतनी कृपा की, उनके भोग को स्वीकार किया, भोग को पाए, और इतना उन्हें दिव्य दर्शन दिया, वृंदावन का दर्शन दिया, अपना गोपाल रूप दिखाया, गौर गोपाल रूप दिखाया, है ना। तो लड्डू गोपाल जी की उपासना हमारे चैतन्य भागवत में है। तो आप बिल्कुल आनंद से सेवा कीजिए आपके लड्डू गोपाल जी की, बिल्कुल हमारे गौड़ीय संप्रदाय में है। प्रभुपाद जी ने हमें सिखाया कि कार्तिक के महीने में दामोदर अष्टकम प्रतिदिन गाना चाहिए और दामोदर भगवान की उपासना करनी चाहिए। और उसमें उस दामोदर अष्टकम में भगवान दामोदर को गोपाल नाम से, गोपाला बालम शब्द आता है, गोपाल नाम से संबोधित किया है। तो गोपाल जी की उपासना, जो छोटे हमारे गोपाल जी है, बिल्कुल हमारे गौड़ीय परंपरा में है। तो आप कीजिए, कोई उसमें ये नहीं है, बहुत अच्छा है। ठीक है
जी प्रभुजी, थैंक यू सो मच। हरे कृष्णा, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा। ठीक है, तो हो गया। आई थिंक एवरीबॉडी इज डन। थैंक यू वेरी मच। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद।
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण प्रभुजी।